And I went in there and I said, "You are the devil himself. I want you to get out of my life and never, ever come back. Get out. Now.
Yeah.
Get out." And then I left the living room and went into the bathroom and locked the door and stayed there till I heard him leave.
You'll hear this and more on Focus Your Inner Bitch, the Mary Bratton Story, a special series on Jim Bratton Podcast.
Well, here we are again. Conference room 206 at Marmo. This is the Jim Bratton Podcast. And this is the Focus Your Inner Bitch, the Mary Bratton Story sub-podcast series of the Jim.
You always have to title things. I know that.
Well, yes, I do.
And that's okay.
Well, because it is the Mary Bratton Story. It's Focus Your Inner Bitch.
Yeah.
The Mary Bratton Story.
Yes.
Mary, welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't have to welcome you. It's like we see each other every day, all day. But as I say every time, this is a different perspective because how often do you sit down at a table and look into each other's eyes?
I don't know
Well, neither do I.
how other people do it, but this is how we do it.
I don't really give a fuck how other people do it. We managed to do this for 45 years now and have a good time.
That is so true.
Every day.
That's so true.
I mean, a good time every single day. So,
that is so
Mary,
true.
We came into this today. Normally, we have a plan. We have an agenda. I know you've got stuff that you'd like to cover. What are we going to talk about that we haven't talked about before?
That you're absolutely going to love-hate part of this story. Okay? Because we're going to talk about the years after I graduated high school and I still lived at home. And I was just learning life.
Yeah.
And during that time frame, I went to a Grucio that was it's a retreat,
Yeah.
a way to get closer to God and to be happy with knowing God.
Right.
And when I was there, when I went, I met a group of women that just lived not far from me. They lived in the Magnolia area, and I lived in the Denver Harbor area. They told me about the CYA, so it was that young adult group that I belonged to.
And you still keep in touch with it?
And it was wonderful. Those folks were just absolutely great.
Yeah.
Okay. I started going to that club with them, and
Which church was it based
it
on?
was Immaculate Heart of Mary. And I was Resurrection, so it was just across the bayou, really, from it. And I met a lot of people, and I really still see some of those folks and really love them and care about them. And we did all kinds of stuff. Okay, so one of the things that we were a functioning group at that church. And so we would have to take our turn to do like Sunday morning breakfast on I think we did it just every fifth.
Well, you were like a church
sanctioned group.
Yeah.
Right. And so we would do what we needed to do for breakfast because other groups were doing it. I mean, they had their Holy Name Society or the men's club or the women's group, all these other folks that did all that on a regular basis.
Those of you did come up in the Catholic Church. If you were a church person, almost every church has an array of these kinds of organizations.
Yes, a very big group of that. Okay, well, during that time, I had gone to work at Gray Bar, Electric, and it was okay. I told you, I think I told you about having because I had the comptometer skill, I got promoted. And anyway, the poor girl that I got promoted over, then she went off to school to learn how to do the comptometer. And she also did what I did. So, and all of it was extension of the billing. Okay. And anyway, it was a job.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, I don't know what's coming. I truly do not know what's coming. Okay.
So then I went to a family, picnic or something. I forget, but we were all outside somewhere. And my cousin's husband says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And so they're 10 years older than I am, maybe 15 years older than I. Anyway, he says, "So what are you doing?" And I tell him what I'm doing. And he says, "Why don't you come to work for me? I'm in need of a accounts receivable person, and I think you can grow into this. And how much money are you making?" And so I tell him, and he tells me he'll pay me $50 or $100 more a month or what have you. And so I had agreed to do that. But let me see. First of all, I think I'm not sure, but I think that's when I went to, no, that wasn't it. I went to, of course, the Olympics during that time.
Right.
And I had gone to Mexico City with my grandmother before then. And let's see, what else? Anyway, the CYA group, we also had a booth at the bazaars, and we would,
Right.
and of course we were right there by the Chip Channel, and all the seamen would come in, and they would, of course, we were speaking English and Spanish, and then these guys would go off into Portuguese, and we'd say, "Wait a minute, we don't speak that language," and so then they'd come back to Spanish, and
Right.
anyway, it was always an interesting event, but we had 2 or 3 of those while I was active in that group. Okay, and then I went to work at this.
Assume everything you're giving me is background.
Yes, all of this. So I won't go to, and in the meantime, I had gone to this Cruceo. So I'm trying to understand my way and to make a life for myself, okay? And I don't know how to say it except that the devil gets after me.
Yeah.
And he really did. Remember I told you that it was important to know that my friend that was up at Lake LBJ was married to a guy that was 10 or 12 years older than she.
Right.
And I was making trips up there along the way and what have you. And so I could see that she was pretty well taken care of by this older man. Anyway, the devil was an older man. And he just waited very patiently. And the devil is just an incredible
Was this grooming?
person. Yes, grooming me to have an affair with him. And it was very slow, very quiet, okay, so I'm in this young adult group, and so I'm running off with my friends and doing all kinds of stuff. And here's the devil after me a little bit, and after me a little bit, and after me a little bit. And so I start seeing him during the time that I should have probably been out with, yes, because we had events.
Right.
Our group, our CYA group.
We started to walk away from
Exactly.
that.
No, I didn't really walk away. What I did was I would go early to the young adult group and see them, and I'd bow out and then go see the devil. And it was sort of back and forth. And
this is clandestine.
Yes, very clandestine, very clandestine. And it was just, I never ever would have thought that would happen to me.
Correct.
But he was extremely controlling, and as I said, I never thought it would happen to me, but it did. And let's see our little group went off to where did we go? Oh, to Monterey.
Right.
It was interesting. Of course, we all went to Monterey, and we went up to Horsetail Falls and just did the whole shooting match and and we would go out and everything. And it was sort of interesting because all the guys, in the group would go out and, they were dancing with the locals, and all us girls were just like, "What about us?" Anyway, it was sort of interesting. So here's the priest gets after the guys and say, "Hey, remember, we need to be more careful of everybody's feelings," and a lot. It was kind of interesting. But while I was there, one of the women that I had met at the Crucio, we had become very good friends by then.
Right.
She comes to me and she says, Mary, my daddy and my brothers and your cousin came down to San Luis Potosi, and they were in a automobile accident, and my father is dead and my grandfather is dead, and I think that your cousin is dead also. So I call up my mother, and my mother says, do what you can do for your aunt. Somebody had to go down there and claim the bodies and all of that stuff.
Right.
So it turns out that her aunt was also in Monterey. So her aunt and their family drove us from Monterey to San Luis Potosi, and we had to do the whole shoot match. It was a horrible place. It was like a dungeon that you see in the movies. It was all dark and dreary, the morgue, and we could barely see them. And it was just an awful event. But I had to be interviewed by the police and all the powers that be and what have you. And of course she did too. And her brother was also in this accident, and he had broken his back and he was very critical. So she had to stay there with her brother in the hospital until he was well enough to fly home. And that was about 2 or 3 weeks, I think. But I did what I needed to do, claimed the body and all of that stuff. And then I flew home, and it was kind of interesting. I flew home and came through the
Custom.
at Brownsville, and turns out it was bird hunting season or something, and all these hunters get on the airplane. Oh, it was very comical. And so I'm sitting there next to the window, and this guy gets on the plane, and whoa, he had to sit next to me. And then he wanted to button the sleeve on my dress, and I said, no, you're not touching me. Anyway, it was it was comical to me. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was, of course, maybe 10 years older than me, but
Right.
okay.
Right.
Anyway, before I went to Monterey, the devil himself is telling me, oh, don't go, something awful is going to happen. And
this is the devil in the persona of the guy you're seeing?
Yes. And of course, this is what happened. And it was something awful that happened. But anyway, when I get back, he says, see, I told you that something awful was going to happen. And you have to listen to me, and you have to pay attention to what I have to say, blah, blah, blah.
Because he was a higher power.
Yes, and he was 10 or 12 years older than me. Anyway, it was an awful thing. And finally, and during this time, my silly cousin's husband is having an affair with one of the other office people, and that comes to a big head. And the poor woman is very upset. And she keeps saying, oh, poor Mary's next, because he just thinks the world of her, and he's always going on about how beautiful she is and how slender she is and and poor Mary's next with this guy. Anyway.
Oh, we've got some overlapping stories here. I'm waiting for this all to come together.
I had watched all of that stuff going on, and the way he talked to her and looked at her and all of that stuff. And anyway, he started looking at me. Well, she quit, okay?
Yeah.
And so he started looking at me the way he had been looking at her.
So, where's the devil in all this?
Wait, he's still in the background.
Okay.
He's still there.
Okay.
I'm still seeing him. I'm still going to my CYA group and doing all of that stuff. So I've got lots of irons in the fire. And so this cousin's husband is after me, and anyway, I'm in a little tiny vault that was behind my desk, and he had me cornered in there.
Yeah.
And this is my cousin's husband.
Right.
And he had me cornered in there, and I started screaming. I said, get out of here, get away from me, and stay away from me, and I quit. This is it. You have 2 weeks notice right now, and don't you ever come near me again. Period. Now I'm telling that to my cousin's husband.
Right, the guy that was hitting on you at the office.
Yes, exactly. So off he goes, and I did quit that job, and I was so, okay, now, so during that time, the devil gets transferred to somewhere else, somewhere out of the area, so I'm not going to see him. And so that's happening. So, I mean, I'm so upset that all this is happening at the same time that I don't even get out and look for a job for 2 weeks because I am freaked out about everything.
Understood.
I'm freaked out because the devil is trying to control me. I'm freaked out because my cousin's husband was trying to be after me, and that I've had to quit my job. And I mean, it was more than, yes, it was more than I could handle. So I just, thank God I was still living at home. Anyway, at the end of the second week, I said, okay, I'm okay now. So I went to a employment agency, and I went on 3 interviews, and all 3 of them offered me a job, but I went to work for Allied Chemical. It was a 1-girl office, and it was a good job, and I liked it, and a 1-girl office, and I could do what I wanted to do and all of that stuff, and everything sort of calmed down for a while.
Yeah.
Thank God. And so I've stayed with the group. Okay, now in the meantime, all of our CYA group is okay. They're meeting each other and pairing off and marrying each other and all of that stuff. And the group finally just kind of falls apart because everybody's gone.
Yeah.
And let's see. In the meantime, I'm still running up to Lake LBJ on a fairly regular basis, about once a month. And anyway, it was quite an endeavor. And then I guess about maybe 6 months passed or whatever. Maybe 3 months just passed. But the devil comes back into my life, and how he found me, I do not remember, but he did. And it was, by that time, I had moved into an apartment by myself. So the devil thought he had, woohoo, died and gone to heaven. I had an apartment.
Oh, yeah, places.
So, yes, exactly. So he did that on a fairly regular basis. And finally, one night, I'm realizing that I'm having to do everything in this relationship. Everything he wants me to do, I'm the one who's doing it, and he is not doing a damn thing. Not a damn thing. So I finally get up, and it's the middle of the night, and I don't know why or how, but I found that cross that I had from the Crucio, and I held it tightly in my hand, and I got up, and I went into the living room where he was studying, okay, or something. I forget what he was doing, something. And I went in there and I said, you are the devil himself. I want you to get out of my life and never, ever come back. Get out. Now.
Yeah.
Get out. And then I left the living room and went into the bathroom and locked the door and stayed there till I heard him leave. And that was the end of the devil, thank God.
How much did you beat yourself up over allowing?
Oh, hell, a lot.
Allowing the devil into your life?
God, it was awful. It was awful. It was awful, is what I'll tell you.
Right. And since you didn't have the stability of living at home then.
No.
How did you put it back together?
But I finally did get it back together again. It was not an easy chore. Then I really threw myself into other things, okay? Instead of maybe going once a week or once a month to Lake LBJ, I was going a couple of times a month. And I started going out more and
right.
and doing other things so that I could stay busy. And I worked at that little 1-girl office, and it was easy. gig. Of course, the railroad crew would come in the morning, and many mornings when I got there, I was the first one there, and the railroad crew had used a screwdriver to already get in the building. Because
this is people dropping stuff off.
It was what do you call it? Just a steel building.
Yeah.
So
with like a switch yard around it.
Yes, exactly, a switch yard around us, and it would come in and make coffee and be sitting around having a cup of coffee in my office.
So things were bad.
And they were very interesting. One guy was probably the engineer was probably close to retirement, 60, and the other guys were 40, 50 years old, okay? And they were all just guys and harmless and fun, okay? So, of course, they would ask me if I wanted to go to lunch with them, and I'd say, okay, come on, get on the switch engine. We're going down the track to lunch. And anyway, so when I would not go with them unless I had on pants, because I knew what they wanted. They wanted to watch my ass go up the stairs. Okay,
to the locomotive.
To the locomotive, right, exactly. And I learned to drive the damn switch engine. It was great. Anyway, when I'd get halfway up the stairs, I'd stop and wag my tail, and they would all go, woo. Well, they were hooting and hollering.
It's just as chauvinistic as some of the other stuff, but nature was different.
Exactly. I could do it, and it was fun. And they laughed, and I laughed, and it was just... And it was a truck driving area, okay?
Yeah.
So all the truck drivers that came in, they all flirted with me, too. And I can flirt back and forth with them. And, okay, so one truck driver comes in, and he says, wait a minute, who are you? And I said, I'm Mary. And he said, you're not. And I said, yes, I am. And he said, well, I thought you were going to be just a whoa, glamorous big girl that had tits out to here and a big ass and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I said, no, this is me. Right here, this little 95-pound Mexican. He just laughed. We had a great time. I had a great time with those truck drivers.
It is so interesting that you knew how to discern intent. And that's a skill that a lot of people don't have.
I don't know.
You know what I mean in terms of...
Yes.
I think that's a product of your era. Did you finally forgive yourself for being influenced by the devil?
Well, you had to get over it.
This has been interesting. I'm not angry about any of this. You know what? I knew some of this, but not all of it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you shared it.
Well, I've had to think about it and about how to say it.
Well, you did good.
And it wasn't easy. And when I think about it now, I'm still get mad at myself that I allowed myself to be hoodwinked into doing that. And, it's...
Well, it's only been like 50 plus years ago, and you still can beat yourself up over it. I think it's okay to be over it.
Yeah, it is. And I am. I don't care. Hey, it's over. It made me stronger. It made me who I am. It helped make me a lot stronger. Because since then, and I think you know this, Jim, I've never allowed anybody to take advantage of me. No, by God, I stand up for myself, and the hell with you. Because it's me. It's me. If it's me or you, it's going to be you, not me.
I'm aware of that.
Yes, I'm sure you are.
Man, this has been another episode. Wow. Focus your inner bitch, the Mary Bratton story. Wow, guys, I got to rest up after this. This has been, wow. This has been the Jim Bratton Podcast. We're recording live at Marmo 206. Holy cow. Oh, shit. Man, okay.
Thank you.
I would say my pleasure. It is, in a sense. Thank you guys for listening.
This has been Jim Bratton Podcast. We hope you have enjoyed, been inspired, informed, angered, or otherwise emotionally stimulated. This is your booth announcer, Sierra Sakel.